to Myers ASMR. How are you? It's so good to see you. Relax, relax. Let it all go. Let it all go. Let it all go. As you start to walk on the way appears. As you start to walk on the way appears. Look what appeared to me today. Beef empanadas. Yippee yippee. I decided to go to the Jersey City waterfront and I stopped into the Hudson Green Market. It's a new market in the area, so I wanted to check it out, and they have a whole lot of prepared meat. When made right, it's a real treat. I first came across them when my host mom in Argentina used to make them. That's my standard. These taste like hers. The crust has to be right. I've made beef patties before and it's Crisco. Add Crisco to the flour. That's awesome, but something tells me to stop here. My dad used to say, quit while you're ahead. You gotta know when to stop. You gotta know when to stop. Stop right before you Welcome to another fun point in the video where we focus on getting better and better every day in every way with the help of this How to Develop a Winning Personality book. Yeah. So we're on chapter 2, which is getting to know yourself, getting to know yourself. So here's a quiz. Are you a bit of a stinker? This question may shock you, but it is nevertheless a fact that you may be one of millions who consider themselves quite nice people, but who have certain nasty little habits that make them describable by no other word. More often than not, they do the things they do either unconsciously or without realizing that they are earning this unpleasant appellation. It isn't difficult to understand why other people prefer to leave them strictly alone, or why loneliness is a part of their lot. If you must answer yes to even a half dozen of the following questions, you would be well advised to take yourself in hand. Fortunately, these habits, which are among the most unpleasant, are among the easiest to eliminate. All that is required is recognition, confession, and the desire for repentance. In crowded shops, do you try to get waited on out of turn? Do you start dictating to your secretary at a very late hour in the day? When you have stopped for a light, do you frighten pedestrians by racing your motor when they cross in front of your car? Do you hold long conversations in public telephone booths while others wait impatiently for their turn to use the telephone? Do you park your car so that it locks in another car, making it impossible for the owner to extricate it, or do you park so loosely that you use up the space that might enable another driver to park? Do you drop pennies in the basket when charity collections are taken up? Do you mess up the newspaper before the rest of the family gets a chance to read it? Do you tell others the surprise endings of book or movie plots? Do you rest your shod feet on the facing seats in trains? Do you make people ask questions more than once before you deign to answer? Do you tell jokes based on physical or mental handicaps or racial differences? Do you cough or sneeze in public without using a handkerchief to protect your neighbors? Do you allow your children to go to school when you suspect they are coming down with an illness? Do you keep the overage when a clerk gives you too much change? Do you consider yourself a sharp bargainer? Do you talk in the theater, at concerts, or at lectures? Do you make sport of drunken men? Do you make busy store clerks show you numerous items when you have no intention of buying anything? In crowded lunchrooms, do you remain seated and talking after you have finished your lunch while others stand by, awaiting their turn? Do you play your radio or television loudly in the late hours of the evening? Here's another quiz. Are you a wet blanket? Of course you're not. How could you possibly be a wet blanket? A wet blanket is a person whose arrival puts a damper on the party immediately. A wet blanket takes the fun out of everything for everybody. A wet blanket is one of the loneliest people in the world, poor soul, and he never means to be a wet blanket. And he never knows he is a wet blanket. Since you couldn't possibly be one of those, don't bother with the following questionnaire. All right, if you're curious, you may read the questions, but don't blame me for what happens after that. Remember, I said you couldn't possibly be a wet blanket. Oh, this book is fun, isn't it? When you are out for the evening with a group, do you complain about the food, the theater seats, the quality of the show, the cost of the evening, and so on? Does it take a miracle or an earthquake to make you enthusiastic? Do you talk about your operation and your symptoms? Are you a hypochondriac? Do you start telling your troubles every time you see an ear? Are you a yes, no, maybe person? Is it the hardest thing in the world for you to make up your mind? Are you overly prudish? Is your vocabulary limited to slang or some form of baby talk? Do you brag about your achievements? Are you excessively modest? Do you keep repeating things you have said before? Do you keep referring to the past as the good old days and telling everyone how much better things were then? Are people afraid to speak freely in your presence because you reveal confidences? Are you a food faddist or fanatic on any one subject? Do you report to the boss minor infractions by your coworkers? Do you talk shop about after business hours? Do you tell people they don't look well or that they are getting stout or that they are aging? Are you a go you one better person? That is, if someone catches a big fish, do you tell him about a bigger one you caught? If he tells you about an antique he saw, do you tell him about an older one you saw? If he tells a joke, do you try to top it, etc.? Are you a loud talker? Are you a mumbler? Do you always have to get home earlier than the others? Oh, there are more quizzes and there's so much fun. I can't wait to get to more quizzes. This is the getting to know yourself chapter. You know, I have to say some of those questions did give me pause and they made me think a little bit, you know, about some things maybe I can stop doing. Hey, we all want to have a better personality, don't we? I think people skills are some of the best skills because they lead to a better quality of life. When you have good relations and you get along with others and you can live harmoniously with others, that's one of the biggest contributors to happiness and quality of life, in my opinion. So hey, remember that when you walk along the way appears. When you walk along the way appears. Hey, if you like